So what have you been up to?
Fuck all, bro. Chilling.
Haven't been to school?
No. What about you?
Nah, just chill at home, play Xbox.
What are you jamming at the moment?
Oh, playing Fortnite, eh, bro? Just can't seem to win, eh?
Yeah. I guess Fortnite,
Yeah.
bro.
Aside from the awesome name, I thought this film was actually really cool. Obviously dealing with a very sensitive subject matter and something that is an unfortunately evergreen topic, but it does it in a very interesting and stylized way. There's just so much visually that I liked about this one. I thought the setting, the street in New Zealand was just perfect for this sort of, for the tone of the whole film. It all just paired together really well with the characters, with a lot of the dialogue, and just everything that was going on.
Right away, our main character is defined, and the set is defined as well, using music, using lighting, using wardrobe. I basically knew what the conflict was going to be within the first 2 minutes. The moment in front of the mirror where Biggie took just a short glimpse of himself, that was a pretty defining moment as well. The thing I was surprised by was the second time that he's in front of the mirror with the lipstick. I didn't see that one coming. Then just when I think I have it all figured out, there's my twist. So I really like the symbolism of the beanie and hoodie combo versus all that the uniform represents to the boys. Camera was crisp, well focused. I liked how the neighborhood was captured and shot, and then ultimately in the end I really liked how Biggie responded and stood up for Rami and for himself as well. So really nice short.
I thought it was really, really well done. From the cinematography, the editing, and the direction. Everything was so top notch. I think the direction was very in the forefront with the way they were able to direct their actors and even direct the camera. I really loved the intimacy in some of the shots and how almost you really got into their mindset and into their way of thinking. And I think they did a really, really great job. Execution all the way around. Even the performances from the actors. I think there were really no weak links. Everything was so good.
There was a real authenticity in their performance, and all of the actors really captured that teenage angst and that uncomfortability of just not quite fitting in, and then ultimately finding the bravery to just be you and be satisfied with that. I thought it was a really beautiful ending to it. It could have come off as cheesy, but there was such a good payoff at the end because they had come full circle and they did it with such honesty.
The characters immediately come off as multidimensional. Drug dealers, students, friends, and even kind of enemies. It's so sad to see the homophobia in the community, and the scene was heartbreaking where he's getting beat up. But it's also realistic, which is extremely unfortunate. The scene where he slowly puts on lipstick is just amazing acting, and it really shows great character development. There's great dialogue between the two main characters. And seeing the ending was so heartwarming, and it really brought the entire story together in a beautiful way.
I thought that they did a really good job of showing not only the differences, but the similarities between the two leads, and you could kind of see how or why they would have been friends, not just because they were neighbors, but because they were both a little bit into, the neighbors helped, but because they were both going to the same school at one point, and they were interested in sports in some kind of way, and that they seem to have some interest in common and things like that. But then in addition to that, they showed you kind of how different their lives had gotten. So you can really see the history and the kind of relationship that they had at one point, and then kind of where everything went off the rails and how different their lives had gotten at the start of the film. And they did a really good job of highlighting those things instead of just telling you those things.
We see the subject of self-hate really explored when it comes to sexuality, and it's brought to life so dramatically without any words really needed. Although he does kind of yell at himself, so there is some dialogue associated with that. By the end of it, the film really itself seems to be also about unification. The disenfranchised must come together if they want to really survive and thrive. And that's what these two boys really do. We see a lot of racial discrimination explored in this as well. And we see that, the only way we can really survive and succeed in this world is if we help one another. And we see two disenfranchised people really do that in this. We see them come together to help one another overcome the oppression and discrimination that is literally surrounding them as soon as they leave their house.
I thought this was a really interesting and well done film. I think it really perfectly captured the teen experience that I think all of us have kind of gone through, where you're trying to figure out who your friends are, who you are, what you stand for, what you're willing to let slide, and just who you are in the world. And I think that it was really powerful, and I'm really glad that at the end he kind of came into himself, and him and the other boy formed their own team and formed their own group and support for each other. So I think it was something that like all of us can definitely relate to in terms of trying to find your place in the world. And I don't think it sugar-coated anything. I think it was a very real snapshot into what a lot of people's lives are like. So I really enjoyed this.